Nike's title.
It's 7 o'clock.
She's a philanthropist. Philanthropist.
So it's 7.
Okay. We have an ink pen.
I'm pro-anti.
All
right, so when we're ready, we're ready. And the important thing is that if they were an entrepreneur, who would run a business?
Director.
Because the thing is that we're pushing entrepreneurship, and I'm self-employed. But then if there's, I think it needs to be taught entrepreneurship and then also team building. Because I think people, and you understand that, but I think for the most part, we're pushing entrepreneurship, but we're not pushing also how to get behind the entrepreneur to make the whole thing work.
We're ready. We're ready.
Right. I know you get it. I'm just like, get it.
All right, everyone, welcome. It is Monday night, and you know what that means. That means you are seated.
Did you check this out?
You are seated at the table for ... walked into a bar.
Say it again, women. Say it again. ...
because you got to say the dots.
Dots are important.
Walked into a bar. So this week we have 4 new guests joining us at the table for an enlightening conversation about some random subjects. And we got 4 individuals from 4 different lanes, and we're interested to know what is their thoughts on certain topics. If they can be controversial, it doesn't have to be mainstream thinking. It is your thinking, and we want you to be honest. We want you to be transparent. This is a safe zone for you. So we provided you with some beverages. Maybe that'll loosen you up a little bit so you feel more comfortable letting your truths come forward. But we welcome you. So let me introduce myself. My name is Rhonda Cox. I am the owner of RSVP Event Management. And I am joined with my very handsome co-host here to my right. Introduce yourself, sir.
They call me Mr. 100. I don't know why.
100, because you keep it 100.
Yeah, just a little guy from East Baltimore, man. President of the iLive Project, nonprofit organization. We love the youth. We help them about the future right now, not later. So, I'm just happy to be in your presence and the presence of our great host that's here and guest. And let's get it. Let's talk some good stuff.
So let us introduce our guest. First up, we have the lovely Miss Latesha Higgs. Yes. She is an educator amongst other things, and I'm sure we'll get into that later on. But we have her as a elementary school teacher coming from Furley Elementary School.
And we also have Mr. Stephen Wise, business owner, fashion designer, shop owner of SWB, downtown Baltimore.
And we thank you for hosting us here today. We're at 216 North Packer Street at his amazing boutique. So please make sure that you stop by. We support our own around here. All right. And to the left, we have the lovely Nyki Robinson. We'll give her the title of philanthropist, but there is so much more that meets the eyes, and I'm sure she will go into it a little bit more.
And we have, last but not least, our man, More Byrd, film director. I'm going to give it all, director, producer, screenwriter. I'm going to just say it all the way down the board.
Yes, he was off screen on the phone making some business happen. I was here hustling. I see you, black man. Okay,
Transaction.
All right. All right, so is everyone ready? Yeah. These individuals had absolutely no idea what it is that we're getting ready to ask them or talk about. So this is basically off the cuff. And we want it to be like you walked into a bar and you just started striking up a conversation with the individuals around you about any topic. So you ready? Yeah. All right. All right, so we're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to get into it.
We're going to get it started like MC Hammer.
Go ahead, sip up, and get comfortable.
And based on this, we know we're talking about the young lady that striked the teacher at Douglas High School.
I'm not sure if I would say because that was following their record for a long time. And children when they're young, and with, considering that these days and times, a lot of parents just put the children in front of the TV, the laptop, phone, or whatever, and not raising their child. And because of that, a lot of these kids are raising themselves, and they seeing the violence on TV and things like that. So to them, that's acceptable. So I'm not quite sure of criminal charges, but I think something more than just going to the principal's office, or more than just a suspension. I think something more than that should be done, but I don't know about, criminal charges. I'm on the fence about that. But I do think something other than just the school system penalizing them, buying a suspension. To me, that's not enough.
I'm kind of almost going criminal. I think because it's in seeing the video, there's a long time between your thought and your action. There's like a year of time, in my opinion. And that wasn't just.
You said a year of time?
I'm saying like it's a long time between that thought crosses your mind to your action. It's a long time. It's a long period in that space.
I don't know that.
Yeah. To me, because
if I were to hit you, you hit me back. That was a long time.
I've tracked in my mental capacity. I've tracked in if I say something and what the outcome is going to be in all scenarios. And that's this is just me. This is just me. And I realized how much time I can figure out. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't do that. And I reached out like, wow, I realized how much time I had between my response and my action between the thought process in my mind. And so now before I can say it or do it, I shouldn't say that. Because that isn't good to say right now. And so that young lady, be it was emotional or she was disrespected or whatever the reasoning was, that wasn't her first time doing something like that. That's a known behavior for her. So I feel like even if it isn't a charge on her record, that she must think there is a charge on her record. Because I think she can realize the consequence of it, because what's going to happen is that she goes into the world and is going to meet somebody else. And that's going to be an ongoing thing for her. So I feel like it needs to be serious enough for her to realize they may say it's criminal for the rest of your life, Now, it may not be. I'm going to the old thing in the age where like the whole presidency, I'm going to take you to jail and sit you in jail for a day or two, and if you get into the system and realize what it's like, that scare straight thing. And see, now these kids I can do this, that, and this, ain't nothing going to happen to me. So I can keep doing it. I can hit the teacher, I'm going to get suspended, I'm going to go to a different school, I'm going to drop out with a GED. It's no consequence. So to me, it's going down, what it is. And if they start realizing it's the consequence for my action, they'll do less of that. But to me, it's when I grew up, if I did, I knew my house would go outside of here with something. So I can't do it. Now, there's no consequence.
Yeah, but what you just said is your mom would go upside your head.
Or an uncle. Or a
but there was
neighbor.
a different sense of community and family back then.
And we got to go back to community, though.
Yeah, so I think in this particular case, I agree, that video is so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So heartbreaking. Like, I mean, it's just a reality.
And that's Baltimore City as a whole right now.
Yeah, and it goes to show that our kids are not learning in these schools, right? And we are setting these kids up for failure, bottom line. So we expect them to go to school, graduate, and then go out in the real world to get a job. They can't read, bottom line, because a lot of the teachers in school deal with disciplinary issues.
They're raising the kids.
Well, not just discipline. Yes, that's what
They're
I was
raising
about
the
to
kids.
say.
So
Like,
So raising the kids, then that's going away with it.
when I go into the classroom, I have more than just one hat. Oftentimes I'm the mother,
You're all the mother.
the
First.
banker,
Psychologist.
the
The finances.
Yes, I have a lot of hats that I have on, and oftentimes I find myself instilling moral values into these children. And so some of these values that I'm trying to instill to the kids, they've never been exposed
And that
to.
was my point when I said for him, when you grew up, it was a different time. It was a sense of community. We lost the sense of community.
So now since we have that, so now that's understood. You're exactly right. Since we
Well,
have
let me
that.
finish my thought. In addition to what you said is that it takes time, like the time from when something happens, your thought process. If someone were to hit me now, my immediate reaction, I'm gonna hit them back, right? But what you said, I think before I speak, that came with time, that came with wisdom. And some people may have instilled that into you, and she said she instilled values. And what we have now, we don't have people instilling values in these kids, and so therefore we're expecting them to do things that have we not had the upbringing or discipline or people, the village, because it takes a village, then who knows how we would react. Because if we are reacting based on people who drop jewels into us and saying, hey, this is how you react, this is what you do, people who mentored us, we don't have that. And so these kids are lost, but they're looking for something. I'm sure that girl's very remorseful. I don't know her personally, right? But I'm sure that now that it happened, she may be remorseful after seeing the consequences of how people are talking negatively about her. But what happens to the ones that aren't caught on camera, right? There's so many incidents that are happening in our school system every single day that's not caught on camera. So we don't know what's happening. And it's like, it's very unfortunate, but how do we reform the school system?
So I think now we got to get into, we know parenting at home sucks. That's gone. We understand that TV, the streets are raising our kids. All these things are understood. Now, that's clear. This is what it is. So now what do we do from this point?
So,
I think we're going from the standpoint.
Stephanie, let me give you a jewel here then. How much do we think mental illness play in this factor? Toxic food consumption to the kids. You know, we already covered lack of parenting, proper parenting. But what do you think about that? How much of a role mental illness plays in, family history of it and the toxic food consumption, not healthy eating of the kids? So,
right, and before you answer that, Steph, and I also want to kick that over to Be More Byrd, because as a director, you're dealing with film, you're dealing with videos, you're dealing with media and things of that nature. So let's throw into the mix how big of effect, as you said, iPads and YouTubes and things of that nature. What role do you feel like that's contributing or playing with these youth?
Oh, the iPads and phones.
Just movies, videos, all of that.
I mean, everything they're running and to record everything now. So before they even helping somebody or whatever, they record. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they whipping the phones out and stuff like that.
Okay.
But to piggyback on what you said about you have that time to think, you have to also understand our young people, I think they said their frontal lobe or the cranial, something like that is not fully developed. And it's not fully developed until you get about 25. So you have that time to develop all that. This is the time where before that's developed, our children are still learning how to think logically. So by this time it's developed, you've had that training, so now you can think logically. And our young children, our young people, that's not fully developed. Not only that, those jewels that Nyki was talking about has not been instilled within them. And then David was talking about mental health. A lot of us are not, or our children are not getting mental health because in the Black community, we don't want to admit that it exists.
But adults aren't getting mental health. I mean, I think everyone here in this room could be laid out on the couch. I know I can, right? Because we all deal with things that we don't talk about. And we all have a story. And I think it's so quick for us to judge, but not knowing someone's story, not understand what's going on in everyone's household. As I said earlier, earlier I was crying. Like, I have so many things I have to go through, and just like the weight on my shoulders. That's an mental illness, but we all are dealing with something. And who knows what this young lady's going to be, or whatever the case may be. And we all go through so much, and just like that, your life can change in a matter of seconds. And just like that, her life changed just like that. A horrible decision. And back to the original question, should there be criminal charges? I don't think necessarily criminal charges, but I think she needs to be reprimanded some way, shape, or form.
That was your mother, though.
Man, listen.
Exactly. So, and that's what everyone said.
And then throw into the factor, I believe she's recovering from cancer.
So now, a family that can protect her. So as women, I speak for women of color, there are a lot of single Black women out here who don't have anyone to go to. So in that particular case, it's like, where are her kids? She may not have kids. Where are her husband? She may not have that. So you feel like you're out here fighting by yourself. And then this video, which is humiliating in my case, and it's hurtful to see that. And then she went after the child, right? And in some cases, it's just very unfortunate to see that. And none of the kids jumped up in her defense. And that's what I looked at. And I said, that's a problem. That's a greater problem.
Why
is it that in our generation, I'm 40, in our generation, we thought about that stuff. So even the frontal lobe was not developed yet. It's something in the water, as they say. It's something missing in the food, like David was saying. And I think I'm going to go back to, since we know what these issues are, that the teachers are raising the kids, you guys are financing the kids. I have a friend who's a teacher, and she's mentally helping them get through their crisis, that some of these kids are homeless. So the kids are living outside in the streets half the night. So let's approach it from where we are now, not what it should be, not that the home is perfect. Since no teachers are raising these kids, and schools are raising the kids, and all the different dynamics, why don't we equip the teachers, pay them more, and equip them to deal with these things, and give them some right. Let's get to somewhere you can give rights to discipline a child. And I know that's a stretch. That's not going to happen.
That's law. You're not going to want somebody to touch your child.
Listen, I get all that. I get it. And I
don't even want you to speak or, tell your child.
I get all
don't
that.
do this.
I know. So I don't have the answer. What I'm saying is that this isn't working. What we're doing now, and now it's at the point these kids are attacking, these students are attacking the kids, the teachers. And if that was your mom, you'd be fighting. We'd all been, it wouldn't matter how old that child was, it'd have been, I'm going to the school, it is whatever it's going to be. Period. Period.
And I mean, the point that we got to get to is what will the consequences be? Because that's what it seemed like the line is, that they don't see any consequences behind it, so they're going to repeat the offenses.
To me, I don't think it's going to be this is not a question where you can give one solution.
Right.
I think there's a lot of things that have to go into play with this. She's definitely going to need some counseling, because why are you that angry? Why are you that angry that you
at
had
that
to
age.
Right, at that
rage.
age. Right. So
But she needs it, so you're saying that it needs to be enforced by the school system for her to go back in school, because we often say she needs it, but how do we execute it? So
that's I don't have an answer for that, other than it just takes, it's going to take more than just discipline. It's going to take a lot of things to be able to reach the children. And what you said earlier about teachers, equipping teachers, I'm telling you, going to school to prepare for this and get trained for this, I think I had one child development class and one child psychology. And that was back in 2007.
Right.
So it's like our children, and you said, well, we didn't have our frontal lobes and all that developed either when we were younger, but we knew better. But at the same time, our children today are facing or dealing with more things than what we were dealing. Before, when we were young, we were outside playing, right?
I think they're stressed. These kids are stressed.
Yes. I mean, testing up the wazoo, like, really.
So I'd like to throw another little caveat into the situation. So then the incident that took place, I believe, in California. The video that was floating around of the male teacher laying them poles. So we talk about stress, and we talk about breaking points, and you talked about the training and things of that nature. So how do you deal or discipline the educators who are fighting back? What's your take on that?
I think that it a constant conversation, maybe a group session with teachers at some point, with a constant dialogue, because in conversation you discover a person's weaknesses or idiosyncrasies or issues. But I think as a society, we're always on our phones, like you were saying, and we're always into media. We're always on YouTube. It's always something. We're all distracted, and there's no real. If you're dating someone, you're on your phone the whole time. You're dating a person. You're at a dinner table and you're on your phone, taking pictures of your meeting. So you see, you've lost this communication that's gone. Our grandparents, great-grandparents, there was no TV to watch all the time, so they talk. And they stayed together for 60 years and raised 8 kids on one income. And we have 3 incomes and sell weed on the side and can't pay rent. But they talk, they communicate. So I think you're going to be more communication with teachers and with young people, giving them into dialogue and expressing. Because now they're not expressing. It goes right to the phone, and I'm recording and I'm sending it out. It's on World Star in a matter of seconds. But there's no real dialogue as to why I'm so angry. My parents did this and that to me. My daddy left me. My mother was a crackhead. Somebody abused me, somebody raped me, somebody touched me, I was whatever it is. And so you grow up with this rage, and so now you're 16, and I'm mad. And now I'm big enough where I can express it. Because I was punked when I was 10 and 12. And so now I'm a little thicker, I can fight now because I got some weight on me. So every chance I get, I'm going to fight. Because I'm mad that my daddy beat me, or my mother beat me, or like my dad was abused. He never talked about it. Never talked about it. And after he passed, he never talked about it. And so then a few years ago, my aunts were together, and they were older than him, and they saw my dad get abused. And I questioned my aunts, because I knew what around home would happen. My aunts wouldn't talk about it. They're almost 70 years old. They would not talk about it.
All right, let's put a pin. We're going to take a really quick commercial break. We're going to pay the bills. And then when we come back, we can pick up where we are leaving off right now. And then also we're going to jump into another hot button topic. So guys, stay tuned. We will be back after this commercial break.
And remember, you're in our bar. And we're back. ... Walked in a bar.
Yes.
And we got some of the best at our round table.
Yeah.
Should I take a little sip?
Go ahead and take a sip. So for those that are just tuning in, we want to introduce to you or present to others our guest for the evening. We have the host. I'll say the host because he's allowing us to take in his place
Absolutely.
of business. Mr. Stephen Wise, our designer, SWB here. And then we have to his left the lovely Miss Nyki Robinson. She is a philanthropist and the creator of Black Girls Vote. To the left of her, we have More Byrd. He's our resident director for the evening. Can't wait to pick his mind about a couple of things. And then to his left, we have the lovely Miss Latesha Higgs, our educator at the table. So while we were on break, Miss Latesha was sharing with us a little something, and I would love for her to share it with the rest of our viewers about her own personal experience with this fight back type of situation in the classroom. So please.
Yes.
Fight back in the classroom.
So when you were asking the question, it reminded me the question about teachers, fighting back. And it reminded me of my own story. I was in another district, and I tell this story often that people who know me know I go throughout the city. I'm a mental health advocate, and I share my story on dealing with a mood disorder. And so at the time that this situation took place, I was an elective teacher managing a program that the elective class was in. And I also had 3 6th grade classes, 3 8th grade classes, 3 7th grade classes. And the same time I was asked to create substitute plans for a substitute that was coming in to take my position to teach a reading class that was a 6th and 7th grade class split. So this particular class had already ran 3 teachers out before me in the same school year. The last teacher that they ran out before me, a student scratched herself, said that the teacher did it, so the teacher was on administrative leave, okay? So this is in my head as I go into the classroom. Now, with this being in my head, remind you that I'm still creating substitute plans. I'm creating lesson plans for 6th and 7th grade. At the time, I was married with 2 children. I'm on a teacher advisory council. I'm mentoring 2 programs, one for males, one from females, and I'm also in grad school.
You're busy.
I was busy. I had no idea at the same time. I told you I was dealing with a mood disorder, and I refused at that time to take the medicine because I didn't want to believe I had this issue. At the time, I'm getting hypomanic. I didn't realize that because I'm just taking on everything, and I'm able to deal with it. So, one of the young ladies was bullying a student, and I stepped in. And I addressed the issue. We got a little heated, but not too much. And then we went on to lunch. And then after lunch, I hear the young lady telling people, pretty much trying to coach people into saying that, did you see her hit me? Now, I did not put my hand on this young lady. So I'm already sitting, at this point, I'm upset because I'm thinking of what happened with that other teacher, and I'm like, oh no, I need my job. You're not about to get me fired. So I go in, and knowing that this all started because I was taken up for another child. So I go and address the young lady, and when I tell my story, when I go throughout Baltimore City, she wants to go here. And so of course I go here. Then she wants to go here. Then I go here. And I'm like, okay, she really don't know who she's talking to, who she's dealing with. So it escalated to the point where I went on this 15-minute rant. I'm telling y'all, I had no idea I was going on that long. And it was like all the anger, all the frustration, everything I was dealing with, it just came out. And once again, I have a mood disorder with not being on my medicine. And so it just all came out. And it was like for 15 minutes I was going off. I had no idea I was being recorded. Before I knew it, it was on YouTube. Then the news got a hold of it. And then I was getting all these nasty emails because I was a quote unquote crazy black teacher going off on a white student. Everyone didn't know that this white student that I was going off on, I was, because the reason why I was doing it, because I was actually protecting another white student.
That wasn't talked about.
Exactly.
But they're not going to tell that.
So no, they're not. They're not going to tell that. Right. And it's so funny because I had put my all into this school system. They knew what I did, how I helped, and this, and the other. But that was not. And so that's why I left that school system, because I felt like I did a whole lot. And then the opportunity for you to come back and say, this is not really Latesha, it didn't happen. But yeah, I understand when a lot of teachers get like that. I'm not saying this right. And I always, when I share the story, I say, that wasn't professional of me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I always say that. But I can imagine how they feel with all that anger, just as the children, not saying it's an excuse, but all that is, you know, bottled up in you. And like the gentleman that went off, I didn't see the video, but what I'm understood was, when I understand was, I'm hearing that the young man threw a basketball at his head and was calling him all these derogatory names. And I'm like, okay, who do you think is going to be able to handle that? I don't care how professional you are. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to deal with that for so long, and you keep getting, it's like no one wants to keep doing, have somebody do this all day. You're like, stop, you know what I mean? So it's, and that's what some of the teachers go through. It's frustrating. And then when you finally, you know, you have all this built up, and then we don't have a support system when something is going on. We have someone to talk to other than using our insurance, paying a co-payment to go find a therapist ourselves.
Let me ask a question. Was disciplinary action taken against you, or you were able to walk away?
I was on paid administrative leave, and like I said, because dealing with what I was dealing with, I actually was, eventually I was hospitalized because it was just so much, because I couldn't believe this happened, knowing that, knowing that, you know, wow, you know, I put all of this in and no one, and then it got out that I do have a mood disorder. Then it was like, well, then why she's in the classroom? I had been teaching 7 years prior, no problems, children coming to me, I'm keeping food in my cabinet for kids, for both white and black. Right, exactly.
So let's move the shift on this, though. And before we jump out of this topic, though, I want to drop one more jewel, and then we'll move on to the next question. So with a situation like that, how do you guys feel about us implementing in our own schools, just like Puffy did and LeBron? What's your take on that? Do you think we should move towards having our own schools more so, and privately owned and funded?
I saw this quote that I really like. I don't know who said it, but it was a really good quote. He said, you can't keep sending your children to Caesar to be educated and shocked when they come out acting like Roman soldiers.
All right, I like that.
Like, oh.
Yeah, that's dope.
That's it right there.
Say it again.
I think that might answer the question.
Right, yeah, you chop that up.
I feel that the Nation of Islam has definitely taken the stance on that, where they're not leaving the educating of their children up to others. You know, they really take that, it takes a village, but it's going to be our village mentality. And I feel like it's been fruitful for the Nation of Islam.
Kind of very quickly, I think what was said, if we can segue out of this, was, I think the beginning of the end for our community was when we integrated. When we integration happened, that was the beginning of the end for us, because worst thing that happened was the integration. We were fine on our own, and they didn't like us because we were so strong on our own, that was a fear that we would be an uprising. So that entered in abortions, that entered in the Section 8s, that entered in, this women in the household, that entered in Planned Parenthood. We were having, our grandparents had 10, 15 kids in one household. And so now that many black men. Okay,
well, you know what? It is very appropriate that you ended it on that. let's talk about polygamy and polyamory.
Palamory.
So who's familiar with those terms and would like to share your insight on that?
Who knows about
And then-
palamory and who want to tell that
I'll
story?
give you the definition of polyamory if it looks like we're getting a little stuck. And then I have some follow-up questions in regards to this phenomenon that's taking place in the dating/relationship world. You know, with the 10 kids. Go on.
I think we all familiar with polygamy and I can never pronounce it.
Palamory, tell the story.
Yes, I think we all familiar with that. Let's go and start that one off.
Come on, come
Very
on.
Look, everybody just chuckling.
How about we just like talk about the difference between the two? Because I think people get confused the difference
Absolutely.
between those two.
So we have a definition.
Let's do that first.
Okay, so polyamory definition: committed couples who have casual partners on the side. Okay, so that is our definition of polyamory.
Casual on the
committed?
side.
You're
So each
committed?
couple has their own separate
Right,
relationships.
right.
But they know about, if I remember
It's an
correctly.
open.
It's
Yeah,
open.
yeah, so, the the husband knows about the wife's side person and then,
Okay, next.
Open like 7-Eleven.
Yeah, next definition. Next definition.
So polygamy is the practice or custom of having more than one wife or husband at the same time. So now we are taking a vow, like you know, I'm married, I have 3 wives. I believe Brother Polite is like the face of polygamy these days when it comes to that with his 3 different wives. They all reside in the same home, they're raising the children. He doesn't make any secrets about on his social media. These are my women, these are my wives, these are my queens, these are my, my world. As opposed to the committed relationship. So we're not married, but we are in a relationship. But I know you got a side boo. I believe, was it Will and Jada was rumored to have such a relationship.
open.
Monique was rumored to have such a relationship. So let's get your thoughts
Multiple
on that.
loves versus dots.
Polygamy, to me, with polygamy, first of all, to each his own. I'm gonna put that out there. Whatever floats your boat, hey, it's not gonna work for me, but whatever floats your boat.
All
But
right.
with polygamy, what people don't understand is, oh, I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna have like 3, 4 wives. Okay, if that's the case, you still need to make sure that each one of those wives are equally cared for. It's not like I'm gonna marry this person this day and then 3 years later I'm gonna marry that person. And no, each one of those wives are cared for. So in those societies and cultures that practice polygamy, each one of those women are taken care of equally.
Yeah, I think for us as a community, a lot of men don't know how to be men, right? And especially like to provide because they weren't taught that. Back in the day, my grandfather, he had 7 kids here, and he provided. When my grandmother, when he passed away, my grandmother's still living off of what he set aside. And nowadays we don't have that. So I believe that folks aren't taught to provide for their family as men. It's kind of like, I'm just going to live my life and do whatever. I have multiple people. So I don't think it'll work for it. I'm not saying I support it or not. But if folks have the mindset that we don't even know how strong you are, we come from descendants of kings and queens, and that we are providers, this is what we're to do. So for me, I'm not for it personally, out of the two, but to each his own, and each his live whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Amen.
I think that it's, I think,
All right, provide or divide.
I think it kind of goes
So
into,
you can't knock it, that's right.
I think it kind of goes into, we're in a space in society and culture now where commitment is no longer a big deal. And I think it's a commitment issue with everything from jobs to relationships, to everything that we do. People they jump from thing to thing to thing to thing. Our attention span is so short. We can't even watch TV without having our phone up. We're on our phone while we're watching TV. We can't even get anything. We're always, the cell phones now have split screens. You can watch YouTube instead of text message. I do it. I'm watching a movie on YouTube, documentary on YouTube, and I can send you a text message at the same time. So now we're so divided, so there's no commitment to any one thing anymore. So I heard a great man say, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So the commitment thing, the whole polygamy thing in other cultures, it's a cultural thing. This isn't a new thing. This is a cultural phenomenon. But this is everyone does it. This is not like an isolation. Now it's really what it is now in American culture is I'm trying to sex with everybody. I want to screw you and you and you, and I want you to be okay with it because I don't want this. I want to choose the commitment.
That's right.
Between one. So I don't really think it's about. I think it's about the fleshly thing. It isn't about the culture and the commitment resounding that has to go along with being polygamous and having four. Like I know a guy in Baltimore who has this lifestyle. But all the wives have equally really big homes.
That's right.
And they may have some issues, but they're all well taken. He says, I choose to. And they're all taken care of. All the kids taken care of.
So, Stephen, they're in 3 different homes or multiple
I
homes.
think
Not
it's like 2
everyone's
or 3
residing.
women. And they all have beautiful homes.
Yeah.
So he's really, this is my lifestyle. And I don't do no drama. Ain't no issues. But they know what it is. I love both of you equally.
It's an understanding. It's an understanding, it's commitment, and it's consistency.
So, be more Byrd. If you had the finances,
Everybody watching me here. Speak carefully.
listen, if you had the finances
Polygamy,
to be able
polybred.
to be able to provide for multiple wives.
This phone girl, oh.
Be more. If you had poly, be more. If you had poly bands.
Yeah, if you had the Polaroid coins, would you think that could be a lifestyle that you could get used to?
Superfly.
Yeah, I have a couple of them.
What you mean you got a couple of them?
Like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
You would have 2 or 3.
You couldn't afford to take, you will be able
I mean, if
to.
I could afford it, yeah, I'd take care of 2 or 3.
So what would be your purpose
Equally.
for having more than
Love
one
all.
wife?
I love all of them.
Let's be honest, like you've grown
I love all
around
of
here,
you.
folks.
I ain't got
This
no way.
you're supposed to say the things that people are thinking.
It's just like hibachi grill, variety.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no way.
Because I had a friend who shared this. He proposed this scenario to me that there are 3 women that he is seeing, and they each possess a quality that's like, gosh, if I could have all 3 of them, I would be the happiest man in the world. We got mentally stimulated. You got spiritually stimulated. You got me sexually stimulated. So if I could combine this, so is that really what men are looking for?
That's unrealistic. No one is going to have that perfect person, and I think it's really lazy to. I know I'm gonna get somebody to talk about this, but I think it's really lazy when you have that person, and then you want to get someone on the side. To me, that's lazy because instead of working with the person you have and work out, and because being in a committed relationship, it takes work. Nobody wants to work anymore. Nobody wants to put in the effort. Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm not getting here, so let me find somebody.
Well, what if the other individual is recognizing I'm going to make it work?
It's just the difference now is, it used to be the crock pot, now it's the microwave. That's all.
Yeah, what if I recognize as a woman that I'm not going to be able to give you all the things that you need? So, I'm okay with the fact that you go out and you get that girl, because at least I have been able to make a conscious
I think a lot of people
decision.
deal with it and they don't openly say it. Like, it depends on, like, people are in relationships now. And you know
I like
the
that,
person
I
you
like
deal with,
that.
Right? For instance, like, if you're dating someone who's very successful, right? Who was it? Chris Rock or whoever said a man only cheats as much as his options or something like that.
Mhm.
And so when you have that, it's more so if you have someone who goes to work every day, I'll say a teacher, may go to football practice, go home, get the kids, then it's different for someone who's out here getting money. And they're in spaces and they're attracting different types of people.
I
You
love
have people
it.
coming at them all the time.
Mhm.
And a lot of women, and I look at Bill and Camille, that's a whole different story. But do we think that Camille knew that Bill had outside relationships with women? Absolutely. I believe so. But she was accustomed to a lifestyle, and that's what she signed up for. And I'm not justifying anything because I wasn't there.
I don't think it's a lifestyle.
That Camille had.
I don't think, I think in that
I don't think
generation.
Camille had a lifestyle living.
No, I mean, she definitely, I think in that generation,
Yeah.
they were committed. When I say I do, my parents did it, or my parents' friends did it. Even if I don't like you, that the marriage is over. I'm not leaving. And our parents usually,
The marriage.
It was, and being it was wrong or right, I'm getting my head beat in. We're not growing together. One person still growing, the other one is kind of dormant and stagnant. They were, when I said I do, that goes back to probably their parents, and their parents are for them. This, when I say I do, they kept their word. Their credit was usually good.
So it was different
They
values.
owned
That's a
values,
commitment.
and so but it was realized, and they grew, and usually, like it or not, they had some money set aside. We got 3 jobs, 2 incomes, illegal cable, cell phone, and they got no money. But grandma had 1, and grandpa died. After their grandfather died, and they never got that money. And we ain't got no. So the commitment, back to commitment again. There's no commitment. If you're committed to a person, and I realized this recently, to a person, you're committed to growing. And if you really are committed to growing and being your best possible self and always evolving, you're screwing a different person every single day. It's a new you. Every single time you have sex is a new person. Because I'm committed to elevating all the time. And so I'm never ever dormant. I'm never the same person. I'm a new step in all the time. But if I'm not committed to being my best self for the betterment of myself, my wife, my family, then now she gotta wander, I gotta wander because I'm not committed to growing. That's my view, and it's polyamorous, being a polygamous thing, is this, I think I'm really committed to being the best that we can possibly be, so now, the lazy thing, I can just go cheat, because I ain't got to change. I can find someone to accept me for all my delinquencies and issues, and I can just, and if you would divorce me, then, well, she likes my dirty drawers, or she likes me accepting working a 9 to 5 and not progressing beyond that, and she's not going to push me, so fine, but you're saying, baby, you can be more than that, but I don't want to be more than that, but you're so much more to you than that, but she accepts me, so I'm going to go cheat.
Byrd. Oh, go ahead. And then I ask
it
first.
makes me wonder also if women, because we know the ratio to men and women now, and if women are like, I'll just accept this because I'm not, you know what I mean? I wonder if that's.
I know his BS.
Right.
I know his
Me
wrong.
and my friend, we had this conversation. He said, look, women, y'all have to understand that the data does not support every woman, especially if you have a man. So in some cases, would you rather have,
I'll accept the side chick. You can
it's
get family.
kind of, would you rather have someone come see you twice a week or have no one at all? I said, but
I'm just
that's,
here for the weekend.
yeah, but just something, and I
Shout
think
to SZA.
that he was the reality. And some people are dealing with this kind of like in an ideal situation, and you know, this is everyone wants, not everyone, but I want to get married, have kids, a perfect union and relationship. And then some people are here like, look, I just need something. And he's like, look, it's hard out here, y'all. I'm just trying to tell y'all that y'all need to understand that everyone's not, statistically, it's impossible for us to have this one-on-one relationship. So he's a big advocate for it. I am not per se. But you have to listen to the arguments and that you have to use the data to get what you want.
I don't know. I just still feel like, you know, if you, and I hear, you know, what your friend is saying, but I still think, you know, it takes work to be in a relationship. And I can say this because, I mean, I don't know if you guys ever been married, but I've been married and divorced. And I'm not going to lie, because it's part of my presentation too. When I didn't want to work, I went and found something else to do. And it did cause my marriage to dissolve. And I look back and I'm like, God, you know, all I had to do was work. You know, because when I look back, my ex-husband was a really good man. But now, you know, I read this book called Single, Married, Separated, and Life After Divorce by Dr. Miles Monroe.
Yeah, incredible author.
Oh, yes. And the way he broke it down, he talked about the myth of singleness and that, you know, people now look at single as being not married or things like that, when single just really means happy, whole, and complete. Yeah. Whether I'm with him or not, whether I'm with her or not. And I know now, and through my experiences, you know, one, I'm not looking for marriage anytime soon. But if it comes, you know, I now know my mistakes and the things that I did and how it was lazy for me instead of work out what I had to go out and find whatever.
But that's a lot. I mean, that's commendable for you just to be honest.
Admit
Because some
it.
people admit
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah,
Like,
because some people
y'all like admitting stuff. Y'all right to the end.
You know, I'm so
Y'all are always
transparent.
right.
My friends tell me, Latesha, you tell too much, but I'm very transparent because I'd rather
feel good though.
Yes, it does. I don't, because somebody's gonna
Be
find
honest.
out anyway, so.
And if they don't, you feel good to just be honest.
All right, I'm the guy that starts trouble. I'm sorry. You know, I like to start trouble. I'm a troublemaker. Bird, listen, man, listen.
Don't be in the
We
mix.
keep trying to get you.
I'm trying to get my man in the game, man.
He's trying to make sure.
The Bird.
I think he's trying to make sure that call don't come.
Don't sit up here and sip on our wine.
He ain't got to worry about the calls and none of that. We got this. Look, Ringling Brothers, they dissolved Ringling Brothers, so we don't have no more. What I want to ask you is, like, how would you juggle 2 or 3 of them?
Wives or
How would you get the balls rolling?
I done changed my mind on this.
You're right. You know that. And took you away
I don't
from.
know how transparent you are, but have you been in that situation where you were juggling more than one at one point?
Don't let them talk you out your juggle, son.
How did you deal with it? Like, what did you do? And did they find out about each other?
Eventually. Some of them found out about each other. But most of it just faded away.
How was dating when you don't ask me that? Like, as,
Anybody asking me questions. Well,
You want to try and talk.
I'm just talking about, you talking about, yeah, some found out, but do you find that women now just like dating, I don't know your situation, if you're single or all that, but.
I'm
or
single now.
Single, yeah. But do you find that women are more aggressive, or you're enjoying dating, or the women now are just different, or like, what's your
I mean,
situation?
women just cost too much.
Okay.
Honest, I'm just saying, like, honest now, like, as you get older, you can't, like, just jump around. And,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now you
Right.
gotta take her out. You feel me? You guys, it's too much.
It's too much on the budget.
I can't have
Yeah.
5, 6 of them right now.
It got to be cost effective to the pocket.
Appointments, 5 nail appointments, 5
Right,
bags.
right.
And then you broke. You feel me?
And then they leave.
I want to come down to Stephon shop and get one of them nice
We're
dresses.
gonna get them coats or something.
Yeah, one of them furs back there.
Furs
We got
back
furs back here, y'all.
Sale. Courtesy of Randall Swords. Take the plug.
Right. Shout out to Richard
Shameless
Swords.
plug.
Shout out to Richard.
So can I
It's interesting that you said when you have multiple, it does cost because, you know, as the scripture says, yeah, it's like, it's a scripture that says you can't serve 2 gods. You want to hate one and love the other. So if you have these multiple one of them is going to suffer. You know what I mean? One of them is, you know, is not going to get all the attention unless she's fine with it.
My girlfriend posted the other day on social media. She said, it's no longer about being the only one, it's about being the favorite one. Because men have so many options. And she was dead serious. Like, just, and people were commenting on it because of now just the dating scene. It's like men are, and for what I've experienced and what I've seen is that, you know, they're just dating, living their best lives. In a sense, well, I'm not gonna say their best life. They have many more options than as far as women to meet men who are out here doing in this city, Baltimore, that you feel that, you know, you're on the same level, you guys can build and grow together. In my opinion, it's less men in the pool than women, so men have many more options. She's like, I'm just trying to be a favorite right now.
But I think
But you know, if women do that,
yeah.
because, yeah, you know, if women, because when I was out, because now I'm just taking a break because I'm just tired of the dating scene. So when women do that and we have our options, it's, you know, guys, when you tell a guy, well, you know, I'm dating, I'm just seeing different people, this and the other, even though he's doing the same thing, all of a sudden he has an issue with it because it's like, well, what's the problem? You know? I mean, I can't tell you how many
That's
times.
an interesting
You
throw.
talking right there.
About men having multiple
Can he
wives.
handle it?
Can a woman have multiple husbands?
It's a double standard, right?
I can't.
We're gonna do a quick round table.
I'm selfish.
We know that Be More Byrd is single. He just announced it, so we're gonna do a round table. Miss Latesha Higgs, are you single or engaged?
Single, happily, unmarried.
All right. All right.
I can't, but right now I'm enjoying this.
All right. Stephanie.
I'm single.
Single.
And Miss Nyki
Oh, come on here for singles.
Yes. And you know what I like?
Living
We're
single.
That's what I like is that all of us we're unmarried, not
I'm not.
I thought you were. Well, I'm
But you also say, I think that the person, like, someone you dated 5 years ago is not someone you would date now. Right? Well, it might get like someone's like, oh my God, like I dated this, oh, kind of like, we're in a different place. And that's part of what we were talking
I'm like that from
evolution.
3 years.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but I think it's a part of find themselves. And there's so many times when we're like just busy and hustling and bustling. And so for me, that's why I love being in New York. Because I feel like I am disconnected from so many people here. Like I'm in my own element, my own world. Like I gotta find myself first before you expect other people to give this and that. Like I gotta get to myself. So for me,
But I
it's a
think you
process.
find yourself with people. And in people.
Agreed.
And for me, is I'm single, but I'm realizing now, after having been single and after having businesses and done this and done that, I know that as a man that you achieve more and can do more as a unit than I can as an individual. And I'm an island guy. I don't need anybody. I do this alone. I'm that independent. I'm good. But now I'm realizing that, and I was never against people, but I'm realizing now that if I had a team or a helpmate, as the Bible would say, when having a word that is having someone to pick up the slack or being good at what you're not good at. Because I'm not good at some things. And I think that we've got to be so into this so independent thing that we miss out on the beauty of a person. I think every time I want to be a whole as a single person, but I think you've been whole because sometimes dating helps you discover who you are.
Correct.
People help you discover who you are, and you can't figure it out on your own. If we could have been anybody else, God would have created Adam or Eve, that would have been it. But he keeps recreating people over and over and over again, which means they were always evolving and meeting other people. So now I'm talking to you guys, I'm discussing about myself. But I couldn't do it on my own. So this isolation thing, that shouldn't work.
All right, let's talk about
Just
it.
because you're single or not married, it doesn't mean you're
No, listen,
isolated.
no, I'm not saying that being single is wrong. What I'm saying is that it shouldn't be that is, I think this constant dialogue of, I need to be single to discover myself, to find out who I am, to be my whole best person. You cannot always do that alone. Sometimes people help you discover who you are.
No, I think that works for me.
Right.
That works for me. This is my journey.
Right. Yeah, and you're not wrong for that.
No, absolutely not. But I think that in the end, everyone has their own journey to get to where they want. And as you said, you are on an island person, but then you realize that I need a helpmate. But it took some things that you've gone through to get to that point.
And I think so. But I think also too, as you evolve, and I think as I'm evolving, I realize the importance of community. And community in the sense of not just relationship-wise, just in everything that I do. And I think that as men, and Will said it so well.
Do you pray for your helpmate? Do you pray for someone like?
I do. I don't know him, and even though I'm not ready yet, but I do. But at the same time, for me, the reason why, and I'm with Nyki, like this is my journey because my divorce was final in 2015. It's now 3 years. All that time, I was, we got separated in 2013. I was dating back to back to back to back. So having these men in my face, I didn't get the chance to know who Latesha was until they were finally gone. Until they were finally gone, and I finally got a chance to say, what do I like? Because I swear every other guy was like, they were different. At one moment I like this, another moment I like that, another moment I like that. So it was like I had to just step back and say, what do I like? What do I need to be whole? How can I make me happy without someone else? So,
Okay, this is hot. Let's take one moment to take a commercial break, but we talking relationships right here on ... Walked in a bar. It's on fire. We have Nyki, we have More Byrd, we have Latesha Higgs, and we have my man Stephen Wise, SWB, right here live on set in his shop. But we're going to be right back. We're going to take this commercial break, and we're popping, y'all. Appreciate you guys.
And boom.
And we're back like we never left. And the conversation was quite heated. I mean, we polygamy and
Yes, Bird's
polyamory, tell a story. We was juggling women, and we had them saying, "I'm getting married. I want some commitment, not no laziness." But we're gonna move on into this last topic.
Talking about dating. It's a perfect setup.
Oh boy.
We got 4 singles here.
Woo.
You ready to-
Transgenderism.
Yes.
Transgenderism. Okay, how you guys feel about the new law being passed that whoever you are, you can use what restroom facility you
Whoever you
choose?
self-identify with,
Yeah.
that's the restroom that you can use.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
But that was actually passed. Where have I been?
Yeah, it was
Certain
passed.
states
Certain
allow.
states allow,
And
and we're one of them.
So anybody can just walk the back.
even know.
I was just at the motor house and the sign was on the bathrooms saying that you're able to use what bathroom you choose.
They do
So
that at the
if
University
I'm
of
a
Maryland.
I got in trouble for
University of
that.
Maryland
I got in
allows
trouble
it
for
too.
that, middle school, man.
Isn't it the things you used to get in trouble for
So it's
now?
whatever you choose, or because it's hard to,
So basically, it's.
anybody can walk in the bathroom now.
Absolutely.
Anybody can choose, like, let me go to this one.
So
So
even though I
universities-
didn't get the whole sex change yet or gender change
I'm saying
yet,
I am,
if
so.
I still feel like a man and I'm looking clearly like a woman, I can still.
Walk into the men's room.
But even now,
Meeting
there isn't
in
a
the
law to say I can't walk into the men's bathroom right now and use it, right? I think it's, because sometimes you can be out and, snap into the wrong bathroom, right? And you automatically go to the right bathroom. But there's no law, or I don't know if it's being enforced elsewhere, but I do see a problem with it because I think about young children.
Absolutely.
And I think about
Absolutely.
if you send your child to the bathroom, and anyone just because I choose to identify, and there's a lot of mental illness that happens, that just because people may feel like, oh, let me just go and prey on some little kid. I think that in some cases, in a lot of cases, restaurants and things like that, that's the law that needs to comply with having a unisex bathroom. So people would not just say, okay, you can do whatever, because I'm just thinking about the vulnerability of children and the cycles that are out here.
I love that, Nike. I love it.
Right, and then a lot of parents do, depending on their age, will send their child to the bathroom by themselves, so.
And just somebody
Just
like,
have a
mommy,
conversation
I
with
saw
home.
someone with, like a little girl in the bathroom with this grown man. Like, it's a grown
Right.
man. It's
Mommy,
not-
is that what daddy had? Or
Yeah, it's not like,
Mm-mm.
Because by that time, something already happened, because you, right, it's already happened.
What just happened?
Exposure.
And then once that happens, once you take away a child's innocence, that's the worst thing you could ever do.
Well, I
That's where
think
we are now in school.
exactly, and I think again, social media. So we have Caitlyn Jenner, we have Kamaya Scott. She plays the role in Star. We have Laverne Cox. She's best known for her
Orange is the
portrayal
New
in Orange is the New Black. We have Isis King. She's the first transgender to compete in America's Next Top Model. So like the eye of the lens is now focusing on these individuals that say that I was born the wrong gender and now I'm changing it. And so do you feel that social media has kind of just once again played a role in breaking down the traditions and the norms that this country or this society has been built on?
I think that's part of it, but I always say, like, after you have that surgery and you go to whatever happens, your DNA is still going to say male.
Mhm.
Your DNA is still going to say female. So you're really kidding yourself. I know I'm going to get more emails, but you're really kidding yourself having this
Wow.
operation, because in the end, no matter what you do, you can cut it off, you can sew it up. When I take your blood, it's still going to say male, it's still going to say female.
So that's going to take us. Oh, go ahead, Nike.
No, I think I've never experienced it. So I think if you are engaged or with someone as a family member that's going through that, it gives you a different insight. I personally never had it, so I'm just curious as to those who believe I was born this way. And so I can't really speak to it because I haven't walked it like that. And I think that my perception may change a little bit having seen someone gone through it and feel like they're battling with something that's not them and they're not free. And in this country, I think that, or whoever you are, this is our one life that we know of, right? It's important for you to be happy and just to be free and live your life at the end of the day. So I try not to be as judgmental as I was the older as I get. And just the more exposed I am to things.
Fellas, this is for you. It's all for you, fellas.
I'm on it.
Spit it out.
You enter into a relationship with a woman
Oh no.
that was previously a man. And she openly communicates this with you,
And
gentlemen.
by visual, she all
By visual, she's all woman. By feel, she's all woman at this point in your relationship. But she told you, and you know, are
No
you...
surgeries, I mean, they can make it really.
No, it's real. It's real, Yanni.
Still kissing that man in his mouth.
Right. Okay. You with me? But I can't be biased in this situation. I'm gonna leave this up to y'all.
Yeah.
Oh, they get shaved?
Yeah.
All right.
I
So
mean, they can really,
they shaving the throat.
you better.
They shrinking the hands and the feet.
They making their throat receptacles.
Right.
Shaving the hands.
Shaving the hands and the feet down.
Like, I use the example of
Used to wear 12, now it's an 8.5.
photos on Instagram. Like, if you came across a Kamaya Scott, like, she's like, dang, you know, like, it's like, goodness. So go ahead, that's that $1 million.
No, here we go, fellas. We ain't jumping. Hold on. That's not it. We're not jumping. So let's go. You get in a relationship. She tells you that she previously was a man and had a surgery, but you
smashed though.
and you smashed and you already smashed. You already in the gut. Look. You already on $6.95.
You were very talking about
Yeah, you're on $6.95. Hit up the turnpike, getting on 95, hit straight uptown.
You at home.
We're hitting uptown now. So, fellas, is that gentleman gay?
Are you gay?
Are you gay if you continue to be in this relationship?
okay.
Yeah, you continue to.
Yeah, you continue after you know. Are you gay?
Oh, if you continue to believe it.
This is a trick question,
Told you I was a troublemaker.
Walked into a bar. Be careful of the bar you're walking into.
So for me, thank you for communicating. I don't ever see you again. Thank you, but I can't. It's over. Whatever it was, I didn't know, so I wasn't gay because I didn't know. But I have this rule now that if it looks too perfect, it's a man. That's my rule.
I ain't gonna jump into that.
And if I question it, and I gotta question it, I don't want it. And if I'm really not sure, I'm gonna ask a friend like, yo, what's female like? What do you think that is?
Pull one of your gay.
But that's the problem.
What's your gaydar set?
Right. But if I'm involved with a person not knowing what they are, and they communicate to me, I don't care how deep, whatever it is, I'm not interested because that's not what I'm into. I'm good. You're okay with who you are.
Come on, bro.
Now that's a problem. Yeah. If they never, so you find out. So yeah, let's go with that. Let's go there. All right. They never tell you, but you find out. You find out from her girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever it used to be.
Or you find out when all of a sudden you not having no babies. So now we 2-3 years in a relationship trying to figure out why we don't have any children.
If they look good.
Because these things have happened, and that's
Dawn,
when
is that the
people have
proper term?
killed individuals.
Yes.
I don't know.
Because the line,
we gonna drop the
you
Dawn. I think
lie.
that's
Just
cool.
come straight out and say, look, before that person, because you're playing with emotions. Like I say, at the end of the day, to each his own. You know, that's what's going to make, as Nyki said, that's what's going to make you happy. Do your thing. But I just think you're kidding yourself if you don't realize that at the end of the day, no matter how much you change,
but you know what's interesting is how many men are okay with. I know a person that was a man turning woman, and I saw the transition. Like I saw it like in real time. Like, oh my God, you're really you were a gay man when I met you. But now you're a whole woman that's dating a man, and it was like, wow.
All right, so ladies, you thought y'all were safe?
yes.
Because I have seen some females turn male in real life as well as on social media. So let's flip the script. You dealing with old boy, he is whining and dining you.
Bam.
Laying it down like you think he is
details and I know.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, talk about it.
She
She said they pay too much attention to detail.
And like our intuition and our gut never
lie. Right.
Never lied.
Not only that, the moment they take off their shirt, you know it's like,
Stella got food.
Right.
Stella got her groove back, but she got food too.
but no, I think there was some warning signs and she didn't want to, because we get a lot of warning signs and sometimes we don't want to accept it. And I think when we finally see the truth, it's our pride that makes us angry because we knew, we saw what was going on. Now, when that guy takes off his shirt, because when it's a woman to turn a man, they cut the breast off. You're going to be able to see exactly. So when I see that little mark, okay, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Hold up, wait a minute.
I respect what you do.
I'll say that.
That's a nice day.
Remove the
At
breast.
one point, you're going to take that.
Right. Y'all do that. Y'all be checking everything.
We check out everything.
Brother, let me see that again.
Yes, honey, I need to see all of the equipment.
What's that temple? Hold on. What's that temple? Look at a flashlight.
Okay, so we are going to go with the stance that women pay too much attention to detail
Too much.
to get duped.
And men just be like, I was going in.
And then it's just going in.
He's going in. I'm going in.
Right. She was trying to get it.
Yeah.
Well, guys, listen, we appreciate your transparency.
Yeah, and transparency, transparent to heterosexualism.
Yes, we thank you for speaking your truths. We thank you for feeling comfortable enough to share your ideas, your ideals, your morals, and your thoughts on different topics. I feel like that this was a very good conversation. What do you guys think?
I think it was good.
Any final thoughts as we exit our way out of this episode of Walk Into a Bar?
And let the people know where they can find you guys,
Absolutely.
your social media handles and all that.
Absolutely.
Well, first I want to say I just love Nike, and I'm hoping everyone supports Black girls.
All right.
Because they work so hard to get people.
All right, let's do it.
So I gotta highlight her.
Yeah.
And she's a soror, so you know I was gonna do that anyway.
All right.
It's so funny. This is my first time meeting her. I'm in person, and it's so crazy. You never know who's watching you, who knows you, and I think it's so important that we encourage and uplift each other. Because I tell people all the time, like they're against us, but we're against us too, and that's
All
so
right.
problematic that we have to understand.
Even more
that-
so.
Yeah, it's just a community because there are too many resources out here for us as a community to struggle. Yeah, so I appreciate just that. Yeah, Black Girls Vote.
Yes,
We're having our
indeed.
Black Girls Vote Ball this Friday. It's gonna be absolutely amazing.
Where?
I'm at the Forum.
Okay.
Forum Caterers.
Black on. Okay.
Yep. I mean, listen.
Ryan Hagenberg, your company. All right.
That's
All right.
That's good. Nike, tell us where we can follow you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking. I want to look back. Okay.
Don't look at me.
You said don't look at you.
Look back at it. Look back at it. You back here. That's right. You can look back at us. You back
I'm
here.
not here.
Nykedra is my full name at Nykedra. Everyone calls me Nike, saying Nike Kendra. Nike like the goddess, yes. Not
The Greek goddess, right?
That's right.
Mhm.
Victory.
NYK.
And Victoria. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And you can always follow Black Girls Vote at Black Girls Vote on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that. We're gonna change the world. On Black Girls Vote.
Let's
Let's go
go.
back to Letitia because you were speaking. How do we
Yeah, let's
find you?
go.
How do we follow you?
Oh wow! So
YouTube.
on Facebook, Latesha Higgs. I do have my own nonprofit working with women and girls. So you can go on our Facebook page at Unlock the Diva, our Instagram page at The Diva Effect. It's with an E. And we also have a website, www.thedivaeffect.org. If you go on that website, you will be able to see the tab that says the Diva Dolls, which was recently on highlighted or was at Empowerment Temple this past Sunday, helping to pack food for those that are in Puerto Rico that were displaced by the hurricane. So really go on our website, you'll see all of that.
Great.
Great, great.
All right, King
Let's go.
be more.
Byrd. What?
Give them all that. Give them all.
Baltimore TV series on Instagram. Baltimore Byrd on Facebook.
It is a girl. Where would I?
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I'm doing a TV series. Got 2.5 million views.
Call what?
Baltimore TV series.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah. Building a platform for Baltimore and acting, rapping, and everything.
So that's this one watching right now. What's your favorite segment? Pitch. The elevator pitch. Like, why would someone invest in what you're doing?
Because I'm creating jobs and a platform for Baltimore. Short, sweet.
You know what? I think the most important thing to have today is that we are communicated from the guests to the hosts to each other. And I think if we can keep that going and keep that organic, transparent, and being vulnerable with each other, I think that can help to shift and change the world if we begin to just communicate more and talk. Because if we don't do that, we get into this isolation thing that I talk about. And it help anyone. So let's just keep this communication dialogue going. Thank you guys for joining me here in my little sanctuary.
Yeah.
Welcome to the bar show.
I do.
I see all you guys what you're doing. All of you guys. I'm Stephen Wise. Find me on Instagram, Stephen Wise Baltimore, Facebook, Stephen Wise. I'm at 216 North Packard Street. And thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
So, episode 3?
This is episode 3.
Underneath the belt, and I would say that this was
This was
amazing.
Yeah, this was powerful.
Amazing. So, yes, Rhonda Cox here. You can follow me on Instagram at rsvpem. CEO, as well as RSVPEM. That's my Instagram. On Facebook, it's Rhonda with no H, RONDA. Last name is Cox, as in Deborah Cox, no relation. And then you can also follow me on Twitter, RSVPEM. All right.
Wow. And me, myself, you can follow me on Instagram at ILiveBaltimore, ILIVE Baltimore. Also on Instagram at Mentor LLC, MENTOUR LLC. Facebook, David Thompson Sr., straight and forward. And Twitter, Prop88, PROP 88. The best year of my life.
And let's not forget the best media network on this face of the earth, WPB Media Networks. You know, spearheaded by the one and only
April J.
And then, you know, what's a queen without having some support, honey? You know, the day one, the ace boom coon, Mr. Seven Nazir.
Film director.
So you can follow both of them. You can follow at WPB Media Networks on Instagram and Twitter. And then you can follow at April J. Is there a number after that? The number one on Instagram, and at 7. Write out the whole entire word, Nazir, on Instagram. So make sure that you tune in to www.wpbmedianetworks.com. Later on this week, if you are not able to watch the whole show in its entirety, it will be up on the website as well as the YouTube page for you to get in on this conversation. And make sure that you send us some tweets and some posts and talk about. We're going to post some pictures. We want to know your comments from tonight's episode of ... Walked into a bar. I want you to say it like I say it. ... Walked into.
I thought we was going in a bar.
Into a bar. Listen, you know,
What we gonna
the
do?
woman is always right.
Look, we're going to go into a bar, we're going to go in a bar.
Into a bar.
Okay, we're going to
Alright,
go
guys,
into
we
a
love
bar.
you.
But listen, no, before we leave, I always love the part about on the website.
Okay.
www.wpbmedianetworks.com, but on demand.
On demand. So
'Cause we on
right.
demand.
So next Monday when we film, you can watch it live on the link on demand, and then you know you just go through the rest of all the amazing shows.
That's right.
You know, a
We got
little
shows.
shameless plug. I happen to co-host the show, The Queen's Wine Down,
Queen's
on
Wine
WPB
Down?
Media
Let's
Networks
wind down
as
with some
well.
wine and get
yeah,
relaxed.
So you know, we love you guys, and make sure. Ooh. I just remembered this. This just kind of
Hot off the press?
Hot off the press. Live wire. That's all I'm gonna say. Go to www.wpbmedianetworks.com.
Coming soon.
And find out what I'm talking about when I say live wire. Shout out to comedian Larry Lancaster.
Henry Jones.
Yes.
And Ray Diva.
Ray Diva, honey.
DJ A-Rod.
A-Rod on www.wpbmedianetworks.com.
See y'all next week.
We love you.
Walked into a bar.
Right.
Yes. I listen.